You know what it's time for.
To do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Guys, here's what we're doing. We're going to run the piss out of this football. Hey, I got you. We're getting ready to run the piss out of football. Time to get something going. I got you.
I love that soundbite so fucking much because he really meant it and we really did it. And for whatever reason, this past Sunday, we got away from that.
Based on what I saw and what I listened to, because I watch games, I take my notes, I make my observations, and then I go listen to people who are smarter than me about the game to try to grab some more insight, seeing things that I missed. Detroit told us they weren't going to allow us to run the ball. We could not establish a run game, and they said, hey, Desmond Ritter beat us. And in our conversations, our public conversations on this platform,
yes,
our private conversations, whether together or with or in a group text or amongst friends, was always when we have to play that type of game, Desmond Ritter, come beat us. We did not have any confidence that Desmond Ritter could win those games.
No, and that was the biggest takeaway that I took away from the game. Obviously, like I said last week, you knew, and obviously you just knew this in general. I was at the game, and this is what I'll say. I'll give Desmond Ritter some slack on one thing, maybe. This is his first game ever was at the Superdome. So I know that game was sold out because the Falcons and Saints, that's what happens in those football games. So I know that he's dealt with that type of noise. Detroit fans bring it. They bring it. It was nothing but blue. It was very much so a home field advantage in there. It's actually funny. It's the one thing that I ever give the Saints credit for. Second best fan, I won't say experience, but second best fan base for a road game I've been to ever, for sure.
So better than Philly.
Yeah, honestly. You know what the thing is with Philly, and maybe it's because it's not a dome, but
loud.
It wasn't as loud. Detroit gets loud. New Orleans is number one. I think the Superdome is hell. Literally, it's hell. And so Detroit, they bring the noise. Everybody, and this is another thing too that makes these games different. You know, at Falcons games, there are people that don't wear Falcons gear that are, I guess, going for the Falcons. Everybody in Detroit's wearing blue. They're all wearing jerseys. They're all wearing T-shirts, jackets, whatever. Fleece, pullover, blazer.
Quarters.
They're going to make sure it's royal blue, though. And I thought we handled it pretty well early. But Desmond Ritter, I could tell every time he went up was doing this. He was doing it. So I could tell that the home field advantage definitely did hurt them. I don't remember us getting too many penalties. It just seemed like we didn't execute. The offensive line looked horrible. Desmond Ritter looked horrible. And the biggest takeaway I took from the game was that if we can't run the ball, we will not win any football games. We won't. We just won't win football games because Desmond Ritter doesn't have the arm to bail us out at any moment.
Or the legs.
Or just the vision. And look, we talked about this going into the season. We want to be wrong about this. We really do because we want to win. And we think that we have a good enough team to where this is a year where you can win the division and you build upon that for next season. We don't expect to win the Super Bowl this year. I do, however, expect us to not only be competitive. We've been competitive really the last 2 years for what it's worth with Arthur Smith. I thought it was poor play calling, to be completely honest. I thought that the play calling was pretty poor too. Desmond Ritter, I think, threw the ball 38 times. There should never be a game where he throws the ball 38 times because he can't complete 30 of the passes. So we didn't utilize the screen game the way I hoped, because if we were going to throw the ball, my thought would be you're going to do that. Now, look, what's his face from the Lions was all over the fucking place. Brian Branch.
Yeah.
That boy might make the Pro Bowl this year as a rookie. He's that good. I think he is.
Little green helmet flicky thingy.
Yeah, and didn't he got the pick six on the Mahomes from the he scored that. That boy is very much so on his way to being an all-pro safety. But we got an all-pro safety too, which shout outs to JB3, Jesse Bates. Shout outs to Jesse Bates II. I sat next to his dad at the game, and his sister was behind me. And for anyone that actually was watching the game on TV, after he caught the interception, he did throw the ball in the crowd, and I'm actually the person that caught it. I gave it to his sister who was sitting behind me because I knew the ball wasn't intended. It was obviously was in our vicinity. I knew who he was trying to throw it to, and would have been a hell of a souvenir to have, honestly, because I've never gotten a football at a game. But I did the right thing and gave it to the family, especially because I had such good conversation with them in general. But, yeah, disappointing game by the Falcons. Just
question for you.
Dominated on both sides of the line. Ritter got sacked, I think, 6 or 7 times.
7.
And we obviously got no pressure. So,
question for you. What do you say to the criticism of Arthur Smith for the max protection, the 2-man routes? Do you think he should have put less in protection and more receivers out for maybe a short, quick game?
You know what? The funny thing is, me and JB2, we talked about this at halftime of the game. You want to know what? And it's funny because obviously I like getting the perspective. NBA is different because I feel like basketball circles everybody. There's this weird thing of where everybody knows each other with the basketball circle. Football circle is so different. I'm not a part of a football circle. I'm a part of a basketball one, but just in general, the parents even chiming in, having a conversation with him. We talked about the offense. Obviously, his son plays defense. The first thing that he said to me was, I don't understand why Tyler Algier doesn't get the ball more. He said, Bijan's the new toy, clearly elite, whatever. They need to be giving Algier the ball more in a game like this because this has been a dogfight type of game, which it had been. It was at halftime, it was 10-3, but it was 3-3 at one point, and it was clearly one of those games where we probably still needed to just try and impose our will running. And the one thing I told him, and what I think could have evaded doing that 2-man, for protection purposes, screenplays for one, but 2, I told him, I said, well, why don't we ever just put Bijan and Algier out in the field at the same time? Why not have Algier in the backfield? Bijan lines up in the slot, motions. You could easily do a sweep because Bijan clearly gets around that corner really quick. Boy, of course, he could just run and still run a route. He could be out in the flat for a quick pass. That way Ritter can throw it. If the protection's not good, you can still hand it off to Algier. I mean, he's got to be able to read what he sees in that defense, whether, it's a cover 2, they're pressing man, it's cover 0, like whatever the fuck is going on. Brian Branch is playing his brains out, but you're a running football team. Why are we getting away from this? And we're throwing these passes. And then there was even a video I got to see, and I thought I remember seeing it at the game. He just completely misses Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts got wide open. And we talk about them throwing it to him. He just overthrew the ball, man. And he catches that. If he throws it on the money, Pitts scores. We probably score a touchdown in the game. At least, even if we lose, that play alone. And momentum's a real thing, too. There was just so much wrong with that game. I walked away very disappointed because I said to myself, if we can't run the ball, we're not going to win football games.
So I'm an Arthur Smith believer and an Arthur Smith defender.
Both of us.
And although I didn't like the volume in which we passed the ball, I do think that that's what the defense was dictating to us. But I also think that Arthur Smith is coaching around Desmond Ritter. And it scares me because it makes me wonder who's buying the groceries.
I love because this is the Parcells thing, right?
Yeah.
This is like one of the best, what would it be?
quotes, philosophy,
quotes. But what do you when you compare something?
Metaphor.
It's
Cowherd level type shit.
I love this though.
But it just makes me wonder who's buying the groceries. And obviously you have Terry Fontenot coming from New Orleans, that Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis system. Then you have Arthur Smith coming from the Vrabel Mike Malarkey, run the piss out of the ball system. Let's control pace, let's control the ball. Let's cover up our defense with our run game. Try to play good three-phase football, tie offense to defense to special teams, which I think we do a pretty good job of trying to do. But, man, I just think he's coaching around the quarterback and trying to cover up his deficiencies.
For sure.
And by covering up his deficiencies, we're not running the best plays for the situation because we're running the best plays that our quarterback can run. And unfortunately, we can't open up the entire playbook to see what Arthur Smith can do as a play caller because we have a quarterback who is only better than Zach Wilson and Justin Fields.
I mean, do you think he's even better than Justin Fields? And look,
I've seen nothing redeemable from Justin Fields this year. So
I think that Justin Fields can at least run the ball. I mean,
yes,
he can Michael Vick the hell out of the game. That's what when they beat the Patriots on Monday night. Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Like there's something to where he can win a game by himself that I've seen against a competent football team and a greatest head coach ever. There is nothing that tells me that if we ever can't run the ball, we won't. Man, let me tell you, I swear we won't win a game. The next time we play the Carolina Panthers, if they completely shut down the run, Desmond Ritter's arm is not going to win us a game. Like, we will not win a game with just his arm. He does not have that quality. He doesn't have that skill. He's not
a natural passer of the football.
I just wish that he was, even if he was just a smarter quarterback, right? Checking out a play. Like, there's nothing that I've seen outside of last week, or not this past week, but the Packers game. I saw moxie. That might be the only thing I know. I think he'd make a great backup for a team because he is one of these guys that believes in himself. He's trying. He says all the right stuff. There's nothing wrong with him personally. There's nothing personal. He just isn't good at football to me. And like, he's backup material football. Like, and that's okay. Like, not everybody's supposed to make it. Like, look, I wish I wanted to be in the NBA, bro. I'm not NBA material. That's why I'm not fucking training camp right now. Like I'm not supposed to be in the NBA, and that's okay. I know that. Management needs to know that, though. Like, that's what's important about them, like about him specifically. Management needs to point that out and really take a long look at it. I can't wait to see what they do this Sunday because this will be the longest plane ride home if they get embarrassed. And it sets up for us to not only lose this game, but low-key get embarrassed. Jacksonville needs to take something out on somebody because they played okay against the Chiefs, I guess. They only lost by 8, but they got beat by the Texans, who have had their number, actually. It was crazy. I looked at the number. They've had their number over the years, but they still got beat at home by double digits, and that shouldn't have happened. They were a double-digit favorite almost. There was no reason that they should have gotten beat like that. Trevor Lawrence tweeted out a writing note emoji. That motherfucker's about to try and throw for 400 yards. And Calvin Ridley, obviously, he's got – you know what he wants to do. So, like, I could see this game getting very ugly, not from the sense of our defense not showing up, because if there was a positive takeaway from the Lions game, the defense played well.
Yeah.
They played well enough for us to win the game. Yeah. They played well enough, but you're getting a team that's pissed off and that really can't afford to lose either, because all it takes is for the Colts to beat the Rams and then Jonathan Taylor potentially coming back and maybe saying, you know what, I like this 3-1 Colts team. Zach Moss is eating. Let me in on the action. Fuck it. I'll run my last year, or we could talk about it later. You don't want them to go 3-1, and then they're sitting at 1-2, getting ready to face us in a division where we could actually drop this game, oddly enough, and still be okay. But they better do something. Is all I'm saying.
So to put a bow on this Falcons topic, I forgot to put the Falcons first ticker on there to be okay. But we are still tied for first in the division. New Orleans has lost Derek Carr. He's week to week. Some would say they would have won that game if Derek Carr stays in. I don't have that belief because he's Derek Carr. Baker came back down to earth on Monday Night Football. And, hey, we lost our first game. And no one's worried about the Frank Reich's Panthers because Frank Reich's not good at coaching football. He and Desmond Ritter should unite in the USFL or something.
Boy, the Red Rifle, stat-wise, I didn't watch it. I watched a piece of the game before I left because I had to leave, obviously. But, boy, I mean, the offense at least had a pulse.
Yeah. With
him in. And I'm not going to – it's too early to say Bryce Young isn't the guy. I'm not –
he's the rookie.
I don't think that the weapons are around him anyways. Obviously, Andy Dalton has a better command of the offense. And maybe they should have just sat Bryce and he not start. And I get it. Why draft a guy and trade all that to get up? But he hasn't looked ready, in my opinion. He just doesn't look ready. And
small.
Boy, they had a pulse, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had a pulse. They scored 31 points. And Seattle, I mean, you have them winning the division, but they're a playoff team from last year. And certainly outside of that Rams mulligan week 1, look like a playoff team again this year.
So let's get to something a little bit more exciting. So we got two teams on who are putting up historical numbers on opposite sides of the field. You got the Dolphins offense versus the Cleveland defense. It's September. It's early. It's warm. Miami's a warm weather team. Cleveland's a cold weather team. So you like to think that defense can continue throughout the year. So I'll ask you first, probably, Pete. What unit would you rather have? The Miami offense or the Cleveland defense?
If Nick Chubb.
No ifs.
But that is an if.
No, there's no ifs. I'm asking you, what unit would you rather have?
I like complementary football, Lee. And so it would depend on what the other side of the ball looked like. In their current situations, give me the Dolphins offense because the Dolphins defense can complement their game. They have Vic Fangio. They have Bradley Chubb. They're going to get back Jalen Ramsey later in the year. They have Xavier Howard. They have these guys on that other side of the ball. Cleveland doesn't have, Nick Chubb anymore. Deshaun Watson looks like he played well last week, but certainly it still looks like he's lost a step to a degree.
Yeah, 280.
280 and 2 tug, and they won 27-3. I mean, it was a dominant game, but Ford isn't the guy. I guess we'll get to see when Hunt comes back what that'll do. But in the case of both teams and their scenarios, I'd much rather have the Dolphins offense. Team scoring 70 points doesn't happen. And certainly against a defense last season that was pretty good, by all accounts, even though this year they haven't looked great, by all accounts, it's still a lot of the same guys. I know Bradley Chubb got traded halfway through the year, but that's still just one guy. And plus I'm a Falcons fan, so I err on the side of offense because that's typically where our success has been, and our best season ever was an offensive team that looks very similar. Oh, shit. That's because the fucking coach was on our staff, too. Another guy that just got away, I guess, right?
Hey, give me that Cleveland defense. I think that defense travels. I think that defense works throughout the year. I don't know if that speed on that Miami offense continues to work as the season progresses, as it gets cold, as people start to figure some of that motion stuff out, and Tua's health. If we're gonna take it out of the vacuum, I think Tua's health is one of those things that we look at. But I think what Cleveland is doing is sustainable. They got the guys to do it, and they got Jim Schwartz out there doing it, who's done it time and time again as the defensive coordinator. But I think both teams are set up for success. I think both teams are going to do well. If Deshaun Watson can give you 250 and 2 tubs for the rest of the year,
limit the turnovers, the face mask, and they have competent running back play, just serviceable running back play. I do believe that Cleveland is going to be something to deal with in that AFC North. I had them winning a lot of games. I had a lot of teams in that division winning games, and you're looking at what's going on in Cincinnati. They still don't look good. Joe Burrow's hurt, and it's apparent. Like he's limited. He's limited, and if he's going to be limited all year, if that injury is going to be what I've heard and then what I've seen, they're not winning. They're not going to make the playoffs. Like they're not going to make the playoffs, and so.
And then Baltimore, does Baltimore have any of their starters playing outside of Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews?
No. Because their last game, you're right. They had 7 starters out combined, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's going to be tough for even Lamar to overcome, especially Zay Flowers has been a really bright spot for them, though. Like he's looked fantastic. He looks like so far the best rookie receiver that came out of the draft. So there's a positive to take away from that, but obviously didn't even include when it said 7 stars. That doesn't even include the fact that J.K. Dobbins went down week 1. That's an 8th starter that you've been without. But Ronnie Staley, blindside.
Gus Edwards.
Did Gus didn't play last week?
He got hurt.
Shit. Again?
Yeah. When
they should make a move for Jonathan Taylor.
The Ravens have to take a look at what their training staff is doing because something's not right. Too many players are getting too hurt too often.
If there's a team that should take a look at Jonathan Taylor,
I'd like that.
Let's get that midnight Indianapolis to Baltimore, but let's do it the reverse way. Instead of Baltimore Colts going to Indianapolis, let's bring the Indianapolis Colts to the Baltimore Ravens. Jonathan Taylor in the Ravens offense, because Todd Monken would, I have to imagine, use him uniquely too, to where he's getting 4 or 5 catches a game.
He's good with running backs.
He's making a fantasy football team even more impressive once he comes back. But
a 1 and 2 fantasy football team, huh?
Hey, you got to face that 1 and 2 team, and Austin Eckler practiced today, so I haven't had him in my losses, unfortunately.
Hey, so let's keep talking about let's talk about some teams.
Fuck you, Lee, for saying that. A 1 and 2 football team. All right, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna Dan Lanning this thing. He's doing it for the clicks. He's like, we're doing it to suit up. He's like, we're here to hit with helmets. He said, the Cinderella story instant.
He did his best Kirby impersonation. Let's talk
because they put it on social media.
Yeah, that's
instead of it just getting recorded, he put it on social. It was scripted. We
got that for the third block.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another team that's struggling. I really had something I wanted to say, but I think it was just insensitive. So the New York Jets are not really taking flight here. Robert Saleh has publicly backed Zach Wilson in a way that I would never want to be backed by somebody who I'm expecting to support me. If you spoke about me in the public the way that Robert Saleh spoke about Zach Wilson, I'd be like, I don't really think we're friends. You have the defense getting upset. Maybe there's some locker room issues that's coming out of that. You're seeing some division. You got Garrett Wilson on the sideline saying he can't throw that. You got Aaron Rodgers stepping in and saying, hey, guys, we got to grow up, blah, 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 blah. And you still got Kirk. You got Kirk Cousins rumors floating all around that franchise as they are 0-3, and he's leading the league in passing yards. Like Kirk Cousins is on track.
Good. I mean, he looks good.
Yeah, he looks good. So if you're Chris Greer, GM of the Jets, what do you do? Do you just ride it out with Zach Wilson and say, hey, we're going to have Aaron Rodgers next year. We got a first-round pick so we can fix our deficiencies? Or do you say, hey, man, my team is good. My job is possibly on the line because
he gets a pass.
Does he get
Aaron
a
Rodgers
pass?
going out bought him one more year. It bought him one more year.
I think it bought Salah one more year. But
well, who are you talking about?
Chris Greer, GM. I'm talking about GM.
Oh.
I want to say Greer drafted Sam Darnold. Let me see. I want to say, and I know he drafted Zach Wilson.
Well, you're not talking about Chris Greer because he's the Dolphins.
You're right. Golly, why do I get them mixed up all the time?
You're good. No, you're good. It's just when you said, that's why I said, who are you talking about? Because I thought you were talking about Salah.
I get
Joe Douglas.
Yes, I get Joe Douglas and Chris Greer mixed up all of the time. Forgive me, Joe Douglas.
Joe Douglas has done enough to keep his job, though. He got Aaron Rodgers. He had the best draft of anyone in the NFL last season, our last draft, not this past draft, but the one before that. He's done enough. I mean, he's done enough to keep his job. Look, I hate to say it, this is a mulligan, and I know that they want them to do something so bad. There's just no options. They're going to have to wait this thing out until they get to week 6 or 7 because the trade deadline's, I think, week 8. If the Vikings are 1-2-5, 1-6, something like that, if they're that bad, I think that obviously you trade your one to the Vikings because I know that that's a crazy fucking mortgage. But if you as the Jets through 6 weeks or 3-3, if you really think you've got a championship roster, obviously losing, or maybe you don't give up your one this year, but like the Vikings would talk to you if you give them a one. They're going to do it. They'll do it because Kirk is a free agent after this year, and you already kind of know he's a rental in a weird way. Now, if you win the Super Bowl, then it turns into a whole different can of worms. But obviously, you're on the hook for Rodgers, or maybe Rodgers goes to Minnesota and we complete this trifecta of Green Bay quarterbacks, and then in 10 years you can get Jordan Love. I mean, what?
No, I think they got to make a move. Obviously, that move is not Colin Kaepernick, but the team's too good, and the last thing you want to do is end up like Sean Payton and lose your locker room. Like you have too many young players who are really good, who you want to be bought in and believe in what you're doing. But if you keep trotting Zach Wilson out there, you're going to lose your defense. I, at a much lower level, played on a team that had a pretty solid defense with a terrible offense. I mean, our offense was piss poor. Yeah. We ran the ball on first down, and it was a loss damn near every play. Run a play on second down is probably an incomplete, and it's 3rd and long. I'm talking about by the time as a defensive guy, you get to the bench, get your helmet off, get you some water, talk to your position coach about what's going on out there. You're hearing, punt team ready. When I tell you how demoralizing that is, it's super demoralizing. And you eventually get into this mindset of, it does not matter what I do, we're not going to win.
Yeah.
Once we give up 14 points, God forbid we give up 21 points. Oh, man, we might as well give up 70.
Just mail it
in Denver because they're not scoring 4 touchdowns.
Or better yet, it's a 1st and 10. Let's just go ahead and let them get 8 yards so we can go ahead and, speed this game up. Because they're going to run it again. He just got 8. Let him start feeling himself a little bit so we can just at least get out of here soon enough. So we don't have to sit here and we can, dip and, drink cheap beer later. I don't know.
Yeah, no, bro. It was so demoralizing. So imagine doing that at the NFL level with the expectations of coming in and being a really good team. If the Jets want to take flight, man, they've got to leave. They got to leave Zach Wilson on the tarmac.
Trevor Siemian is not the answer though either. Like, it's too early in the season because a lot of pundits they like to talk about the backup quarterback situation. Well, Andy Dalton just started a game Sunday. He was one of the names that got brought up. Desmond Ritter's job isn't safe. People kept saying, get Heineke in there. This is, if there's one fault of Joe Douglas, it's this. I understand you weren't going to cut Zach Wilson and you didn't just want to get rid of him. You could have got yourself a much more quality backup. Aaron Rodgers has an injury history. So it's surprising what happened and when it happened and how soon it happened. But Aaron Rodgers getting hurt was not something that we did not potentially see coming. Like, this was something that you could have seen coming because he does get hurt. Like, he has a very well-known injury history in the league. Like, he's been hurt like 5 or 6 times in his 16, 17-year career. Like, and they're always long injuries. It's not like I miss a game type thing. He did that the year they won the Super Bowl. That was the only time it was I miss a game or two. And then that's when Matt Flynn threw 6 touchdowns. But outside of that, every time he gets hurt, he misses about 8 games typically. He misses half seasons.
But not too much on Trevor Siemian. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They don't win that Super Bowl in Denver.
Does he kiss? Whose ring is he kissing? Is it Payton's? The defense, Wade Phillips, hell, I guess Brock Osweiler won a game or 2, didn't he? I mean, and I just saw him calling Pac-12 football the other night. I guess one guy's still in the league, right? Because I know that they're not that far off in age. Brock Osweiler might be 34. Trevor Siemian is 31. Shit, I'm just saying, Brock Osweiler, he was calling the Pac-12 after dark game. It wasn't priming them this week, but he was calling it.
Let's see. Trevor Siemian is 31 years old.
Okay, and how old is Brock Osweiler?
Brock Osweiler's 32.
Oh, okay, so they're a year apart. My bad.
Yeah, so I don't see that going anywhere. Looking at some more games from last week, does Dallas losing to Arizona mean anything to you?
I think that it's a concern offensively more than defensively. Yeah, teams have mulligans, and I mean, Dallas's defense was as dominant as any defense you've seen through 2 weeks. Diggs being out certainly hurts them, but I don't think it hurt them to where that was why the performance was the way it was. I think that offensively, though, you've got to play better than that. Dak has to play better than that. The pick that he threw was atrocious. I don't know if you saw it, but there's a freeze frame of it, and we see what he was trying to do. It made sense, but the throw was so poor, and in reality, the ball was thrown to where, I mean, we could have, in our current states, could have made that play too. And so it isn't like he threw it high enough to where, or to a point at where that guy is going to be the only guy to get it. He kind of threw it straight to the defender, and the defender's looking him in his eyes as he makes the play. So offensively, that would be the only concern I would take away from the game. Most teams have mulligans. They do. Teams lose to teams all the time. That was their mulligan. It was on the road, and we're not giving the Cardinals enough credit. They're still not going to get their over on their win total, but, boy, they're actually going to give teams a fight. For instance, if they shut down our run, that is no longer a guaranteed win for us. You realize that, right?
No, because James Conner is a good running back when healthy. Josh Dobbs is proving
he's playing like a hungry player, like a competent quarterback. Somebody that clearly is yo, I want another bridge. I want to be the next Tyrod Taylor, is what he's telling everybody.
I would take Josh Dobbs and Tyrod Taylor right now over Desmond Ritter.
I mean, look, I'm going to give him some more time. I want to see what he does Sunday. I really do, because I want to see what his bounce back is like more than anything.
Do we care about the Bills and Commanders game just to say that the Commanders are the frauds that we thought they were?
No, but we can certainly say that this set up a juicy, the best matchup of the week with the Bills and Dolphins. I know we're not on to next week yet, but it sets up such a great game now because the Bills look like they're back to midseason form of the last 3 years. with the dominant performance. On the road, that's still a very dominant performance. The defense looked like the defense that's been ranked number 1 the past few years.
Okay.
And hey, and look, they're going to get back Von Miller soon too.
Yeah,
because he's only on the 4-week IL too. So look out.
Brandon Staley lives.
Get him out. He is so fired after this year.
Hey, man. Look, I don't have too much on this game, but 4th and 1 inside your 30. How about we not run a fullback dive or backup running back up the middle? Here's what you should do. Take a note out of Philly's book. You see that quarterback sneak thing that they run with Jalen Hurts that works every single time? Take your 6'6", 250-pound quarterback and tell that big son bitch to get you a yard.
And with no Eckler back there, I know they don't have Mike Tolbert anymore. I know they had gotten him from the Panthers a few years back. I remember when Mike Tolbert went to charge because he's such a bowling ball, right? But and I think that was either Chris Collinsworth's call. Somebody called him a bowling ball.
Al, look at him. He's a bowling ball out there. Al, you just bounce right off of him.
You love that video I sent you, right? That guy. That guy actually nails, and he nails Mahomes too. Like he
loved it. Loved it.
Great stuff. He does Collinsworth all the time, by the way. If you click on his page, he just
you've got a fan in me.
Yeah. It just looks like a guy that just goes out and smokes him a cool every 15 minutes when he's in New York, right? But
why didn't Brandon Staley just punt the ball away with them having?
He didn't trust his defense. He trusts his offense more than his defense. That's the only answer in reality.
Isn't he supposed to be a defensive whiz?
He trusted them to get 1 inch as opposed to the Vikings getting probably about 75, 70. Brandon
Staley, your days are numbered, buddy. You're going to be on a podcast soon like Thomas Dimitroff. That's last thing I got from week 1. Let me go ahead and get this ready for the clip up.
Let's go for it.
Taylor Swift has taken over NFL conversation.
I hate it.
She and Travis Kelce are dating. She's in a game in the suite with Kelsey's mom. He scores a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes points up to her. Everybody has something to say about it. Andy Reid had something to say. Mahomes has something to say. She and Travis Kelce drive off in the Camaro after the game. There's rumors that this was their actual first meetup. He did a little call out to her on his podcast, and now all of a sudden they're dating. She's expected to be at the Jets game this week. Yeah.
Ticket prices went up.
Yeah, boy, did they. You had the Swifties hanging outside, waiting on her to leave the suite. You see Travis Kelce's podcast shoot up the charts. You see his merch shoot up the charts.
Yeah, he's best-selling jersey, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like that. It's super high. And with Travis Kelce being a celebrity as well.
Yeah, because it's not like he's not Tavon Austin. Who was it? Miles Austin. He was dating somebody on the Cowboys.
Yeah, he was dating that cheerleader chick who got famous.
And even Tony Romo was dating Jessica Simpson.
Yeah, Tony Romo wasn't really a celebrity yet.
I mean, he's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, though.
Yeah, but I think Travis Kelce has an image outside of football. He did the dating show. He dated that one really hot, super popular chick.
He's also just
he cool.
He's not Gronk, but he's kind of a wild. Think about you gotta fight for your he's very vocal on the team. He's more vocal than Patrick Mahomes. He's kind of in a weird way like the Draymond Green of the Chiefs.
He's the voice. He's not the face, but he's the voice of the team.
Yeah, he is.
So would you rather kick it with Gronk or Kelce?
Depends on where I'm going.
Fair. And
I'm in Vegas, give me Gronk. Give me Gronk. If we're going to Vegas, it's me and Gronk. Yeah.
Atlanta.
But if I'm hanging, if it's a 2-man, right? If it's a tag team match or something, give me Kelce.
Yeah, so Kelsey's a cool guy. He- I think this is all about expanding both of their brands. I think there's interest there. I don't think it's just like, hey, I think this guy's a weirdo. He's a
publicity stunt.
No.
I think that they realize they can gain from each other, and then if it works, it works. But if not, hey, at least we have fun in this time.
And I get a great album out of it by bashing you. And so I got this question from another podcast that's so much bigger than this one. I won't shout them out. Do you think do you think Travis Kelce upgraded by going from the chick he was previously with?
The obvious answer is no from a look standpoint, but from every other standpoint, yeah, absolutely, he upgraded. Like I'm not trying to be funny. He made that chick famous. She's just gonna make him even more famous. Like, I don't know if Tom Brady got more popular or more famous when he started dating Giselle, but like, it certainly made him to have a power couple, right? Like, that's like these quotes, right? Your Jay-Z's and Beyonce's, your Kim and Kanye, like, to be a power couple, because there's not that many in reality. Like, there's not Angelina and Brad. Like, you can kind of name them all on one hand, right? Like, so there's not that many, and he's a unique type of player because he's a tight end too. He's not a quarterback. He's not black either. Let's add that in. Like, it's a white dude, right? But he's also on the most popular team. He's the best quarterback in the league's top option. He's in a very unique space. He plays in Kansas City. Like, let's look at where he plays too.
Yeah, like Taylor Swift only goes to Kansas City to do a concert.
Yes. And if that really, they might not even go to Kansas City. They might go to St. Louis instead. They might go there. They might, in Missouri, they might go to St. Louis instead of Kansas City. So, like, I don't know. I mean, you've been to Kansas. I've never been to Kansas City. I've heard a lot of good things. I got two of my basketball teammates, literally, same class, both black. They live there. I wanted to go during like the COVID year to go to the Chiefs Falcons, but like, I mean, I've heard a lot of good stuff. It looks like a good time. I'm sure
it's a good time, and for someone like you, Overland Park works. It's low key. It's more like low key spots, chill. They say that's where the Chiefs players live at. So it's a bit more bougie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the side of Kansas City you want to see. You don't want to go downtown Kansas City.
So is that where their battery is though?
So they play because
the Royals Park is like, but they're both by that battery area, right? It's like it's like a battery a little.
So that's what I heard. I didn't pull into the parking lot, right? But I didn't see. It's not as obvious as the battery because I didn't see it from getting off the highway to driving like on the strip where the stadiums are at. But I heard about that battery area that's there. So maybe I was just on the wrong side of the stadiums to see it. But no, Overland Park is where you want to go. It's about 25, 30 minutes out from there.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's kind of far.
It's a suburb of Kansas City.
No, I get that. Well, yeah, if it's 35 minutes away. But I'm saying, like, from that to be where the happening is, like, do you remember when the Royals went to the World Series? They showed that area bonkers. It looked crazy. I just remember it being back then. I think it was brand new even for them. Theirs obviously in the battery. The battery's the battery. But, like, I mean, I've never been, but, you know, just in general.
Yeah, no, it's Kansas City versus Atlanta. Stop.
Yeah, come on. And so
Cobb County.
Interesting. I will definitely we don't play them again, unfortunately. Man, I'll probably never see Patrick Mahomes play in Kansas City unless I just go to a non-Falcon. Like, I'll never see him play in Kansas City.
Or first place. But it'll be in Atlanta.
Oh, you're saying next year. Do we get no, but we're playing the South every year.
I'm saying if we get a first place schedule.
But we don't play. It's a rotating division-wise.
I thought the got it.
You play 4A. You play one division, and then we play the South now. But now that'll be interesting when the South rotates back to us. who does it switch to? What division? Because it's the South that we play every year in that extra game now. So that'll be interesting. Once it gets there, how do they determine which division gets what?
True.
We probably would get whoever's north, I would imagine, because of just logistics.
So with all of this Taylor Swift hype coming around the Travis Kelce thing, and for the listeners, we really don't care about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce
At all.
We barely care about Taylor Swift. Let me tell you how much we care about Taylor Swift. Parlay Pete was pissed off that he was coming home from work when she was on tour because he had to deal with the traffic from her concert getting home. That's the extent of our give a damn about Taylor Swift.
But even in that situation, it was just so bad because the concert didn't start until 8. I think I was going to the gym at like 1. And like there was traffic, and I'm like, why is there traffic right now? It's like the Atlanta United are playing. I said, no Taylor Swift's in town. Janet Jackson was in town too. But like, why? These concerts aren't until later. And then I look up on Northside Drive, and I'm like, holy shit, it looks like the rodeo because there's so many cowboy boots, short cutoff jean shorts, signs, kids, families. And then I look over at the stadium that I get to go to, fortunately get to go to every other week. And you just see it's motherfuckers really sitting outside. And I'm like, the doors don't open for 4 hours, you fucking quack. Like
bro, it was the same shit with the Beyonce concert. It was the same shit with the Beyonce concert. I was driving back to the hotel, and I go, what is going on? Why are you people out? The doors don't open for another 3 hours. Go to your hotel room. Go home. Take a nap. Go get a dinner. Go do something.
Yeah, go get something to eat. Go get some drinks.
But let me tell you,
talk to your family that you don't talk to normally. Like, do something else.
You know what? Go catch the afternoon shift in Magic City while you're at it. Hell,
I know that once peaches and eggplants, I'll leave that out of it.
But hey, I got one thing for you on Miss Swiftie.
Okay.
What do you think of my theory that if super famous white people like Taylor Swift wanted to feel normal, practically unseen, they should conduct business in black neighborhoods?
Have you ever seen?
I'm not talking about like the hood, shitty black neighborhoods.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about, maybe just go out Stone Mountainish, where
yeah. Okay,
black homeowners, decent jobs,
black businesses,
kids want to go to college, all of that type of stuff.
Suburban black,
yeah,
America.
And do your grocery shopping. If you want to go grocery shop for yourself, go to a random park and just walk your dog because you want to walk your dog and not do it inside of your fortress that you live in.
You'd be surprised. There'd still be some black people that probably fan out because there are black people that in those type of neighborhoods that do fucking listen to Taylor Swift too. Like,
I think there would be a fan out experience, but without the social media post, which we can't avoid in 2023. Because people get on social media and they post themselves crying. People post themselves like hanging out of cars, doing dumb stuff. People post themselves committing crimes. Hell, we got people going on live and committing mass murder, so it's hard to escape social media. But I think if you take out that phone aspect of it, Taylor could get her a good 15, 20 minutes of just like her own time.
For sure, because it would. Yes, if social media didn't exist and somebody couldn't upload it on Twitter and be like, yo, I swear to God, Taylor Swift is over here off of South Deshaun. Like,
even with social media, I think she can get 15 minutes. That's about it.
Well, think of it this way. Even in a place like LA where all of them live or have homes or whatever, LeBron, do you remember? I think somebody put it in the group once. LeBron was like eating dinner, nigga, and like, bro, it was like 30 or 50 people outside, like recording this man. He's eating at a restaurant. All he's doing is eating. And I don't know why they would let him outside. I mean, obviously he probably preferred to sit outside, but like, there's always private rooms, especially at fine dineries. He's got a personal chef, so unless it's like one of his just favorite restaurants and it's not like a fine dining establishment.
Or he wants to get out of the house.
That too. I mean, he didn't have Savannah or the kids with him. Like nobody, it was him and like a white guy. Not his agent, obviously, but
Conducting business.
Somebody, yeah, someone. And so I know that's gotta be hard for those people.
You know, interesting story. I had a guest on the pod a long time ago, and she did work on Broadway, and she talked about when Denzel was doing Broadway and how he wanted like some coffee or something one day, and he just walked down the street to like the coffee shop. So maybe New York, but I doubt it. Because the thing about Taylor Swift is,
but New York, those people do casually walk around too.
Yeah, they say Andre 3000 just walks around Brooklyn playing the flute.
Yeah, you can kind of get it. Like, bro, there's been plenty of times I think I've seen clips of Adam Sandler like hooping, like, you know what I mean, like playing at a park.
I think the hard part for Taylor Swift is she's famous amongst famous people.
Yes, there are some that might be starstruck that are famous, right? Yeah.
And I think that's when it's hard, where you are so famous, so popular, so inaccessible that the high B list is low-key fanning out to see you. Then it's like, well, where can I go? I got to go hang out with my friends that I grew up with. And they're poor. Even if they're doing well for themselves, they're poor.
Yeah.
I had another question for you while we're like quasi on culture. I was listening to Brittany Renner on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and I listened to a couple other podcasts where it's more culture-based and sports-based or news-based. And they talk about these famous women and their struggle of dating because they don't necessarily want to date the famous rich guys because of the lifestyles that most of them live. And they say, maybe just get you a 9-to-5 guy, you know, like a guy who appreciates you, values you. But what I don't like about this is they go from 9-to-5 guy to like broke guy. I think there is a huge difference between a 9-to-5 guy who makes anywhere from 85 to 150 a year, can afford a decent life, you know, house in a decent neighborhood,
yeah,
kids in good public school, can afford date night once a week. Now, can't go into town every night, but can afford date night once, twice a week. We can go out, we can go do something. And they group these guys with like broke dudes who are like can't pay the valet the car when they go out to eat. Do you think there's a difference?
Well, guys that are careful even once they do get to said restaurant with valet, to where they're monitoring what it is that you're ordering, to where that affects exactly what they're going to order too, because they're trying to please you enough, whether that be, okay, she got alcohol, I'll start off with one. If she gets a second one, I'm going to stick to water the rest of the night.
Or I'm going to go from cocktail to beer.
Well, that, or, she ordered the pan-seared halibut with the ganja sauce or some shit, and it's like a $60 meal with bok choy, and now I can't even get my 6-ounce filet that's $44. So now I'm gonna settle for the burger that's $23.
Not the burger. I think.
Well, some places have that. John George Steakhouse, Las Vegas. I mean, they're in LA and New York too, but John George, now they do like a $35 burger, but it's off the chain. Like, I have no shame in ordering fucking
That's fair.
At that type of steakhouse. We're not going to Outback, all right? Like, you know what I mean? We're not going to Outback. Outback doesn't even have fucking Valley, right? Like,
I was telling my wife the other day, we drove by Outback, and she said, man, I haven't had Outback in forever. And I said,
it's never bad to go to those places either.
I said, Parlay Pete said he won't ever step foot back in Outback. He doesn't want to bloom an onion.
Those places aren't bad to eat, man. They're not that bad. Like I went to a Texas Roadhouse probably 4 years ago because I just hadn't been since I was a fucking kid. It wasn't terrible. I didn't order a steak, obviously.
You should have.
No, I think we got apps and like sides, like that's and drinks. Like, bro, that's what I was there for. And I did the same. Me and Justice went to Red Lobster. I swear it might have been earlier this year or at some point at the end of last year. Because I just hadn't been, bro. I had not been since I promise you since I was like 10. And it's over in that area, the 78 Stone Mountain area. And we have our spots for lunch, like on the east side, but like Boink, like Pizza Cafe is our spot. That is like our spot on the east side. I will go there. At one point, we used to go there maybe 3 times a week.
Okay.
Right? It's a pizza spot though. But we could go to we went to Red Lobster and it sucked. Like Red Lobster fucking sucks. That's just the truth of it. But like it sucked.
What are you expecting there? You know,
I wasn't expecting top tier seafood.
That's like going to a dive bar and ordering a cocktail.
Okay, fair. That's a fair comparison. Here's the thing.
Get a rum and Coke and call it a day.
Yeah, the one that they give you in the clear plastic cup that's about 6 to 8 ounces. Yeah. And it's like a ton of fucking ice and it tastes like water at the top. And then the deeper it gets, and then you start frowning. Yeah, one of those places, sure. But this is what I'm saying. I didn't expect top tier seafood cuisine. What I expected though was maybe a little bit better service. It's not cheap. Like the shit wasn't cheap. Like what I ordered was still like $25.
Yeah, you're still paying $20-25 a plate.
Obviously, the one thing that we know Red Lobster's good for, the biscuits were still on point. They're still great. But like, that's what that's what gets you in the door. You can get pretty much unlimited biscuits. They will continue to bring them fucking biscuits. But there's only been so much Doughboy I want to put in me. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too fucking doughy.
Hey, yo.
They give you, at least for me and him, they gave us 3. Bro, that's a lot of fucking biscuits. Now, I had to take some home because I was like, man, these would really make good for if I cook some sausage or bacon and eggs in the morning and just make myself a biscuit. But like, point being with the whole conversation regarding that, no, we will not step foot in these establishments unless we're getting bored of our selections within our surrounding area, and we just want to go just for the fuck's sake of it.
So here's the difference between you and I.
And Taylor Swift cannot step foot in a Red Lobster.
No, God, no. Here's the difference between me and you. Is I have no problem eating lower quality food.
I don't have a problem eating lower quality food. I just told you I went to these places. They're not that far off. I won't go consider like you. When's the last time you went to Applebee's? Now you're in Albany too, so like I cut you slack because I know that there's only but so much.
The last time, so when I first, you know what? It was one night when I flew back. It's actually fairly recently. I flew back from Colorado.
Okay.
4th of July weekend. I had just flown back from Colorado. I ended up going to Cartersville because I didn't feel like driving back to Albany because I was super tired. And I didn't land till like almost midnight or about 10:30. There we go. Yeah. 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Cartersville because I'm not driving back to Albany this late. I'm tired. I went to Applebee's because I wanted a meal. And I didn't want
2 for $20.
And I didn't want fast food. I wanted a chicken breast and potatoes. Like
But that is so fucking fair, bro. Like that's a
Yeah,
fair.
like, and they're open to midnight, so or 1 o'clock. So they were like the only thing that was open that was not going to be Waffle House, McDonald's, Crystals. And when I first moved to Albany, I would go to Applebee's to watch games, but that's usually like cheese sticks and the little chicken fajitas or something like that, like chicken
You
quesadilla.
don't like the boneless chicken?
No, it's not me.
Okay.
And a lot of times when I would go to Cartersville, sometimes people would hang out at the Applebee's. So I have been inside Applebee's a bit more often than my palate would prefer. But prior to moving back to Georgia, I hadn't been to Applebee's probably since college. Maybe when I would go to Cartersville and we would go after 10 for like the $3 Bud Lights, $5 margaritas.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always drink focused. It was never. I never say, "Hey, it's Friday at 7 o'clock. Let's hit up the old Olive Garden." Now, like, yeah, I'm capping. I don't eat that chain shit. Like, I only eat it if I'm invited or I'm going for the drinks. Like, if my family after church, like, hey, we're going to Longhorn, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
It's just doing the job. It is what it is. But nah, dog. Like, honestly, like the lowest level of chain that I would go out of my desire, and it's Cheesecake Factory. Like that tier is the chain that I say, hey.
Cheesecake is actually not bad. Of all chains, literally, it's so funny you brought them up of all the chains. I go to me and Justice, I've eaten there 3 times this year. How about that? In this calendar year, I have eaten there 3 times. I got it to go twice, and then me and Justice after the gym went there once. Because it's at Cumberland, so it's like right by our gym. I don't have an issue with Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, like a cheesecake.
And I guess because I hadn't had that in a long time, there's like certain stuff on the menu that I was like,
Cheesecake Factory.
This is way better than me stopping at fast food.
Cheesecake Factory, Maggiano's, your Papado.
Olive Garden. Olive Garden's lasagna is top tier. I won't hear any slander about them.
I haven't been to Olive Garden in a while, but like though like Olive Garden is in the Longhorn, Red Lobster, Outback tier.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's a place that you can go get food,
which is a step below.
But the reality is, these are my options. Fuck it.
They're still a step. Those are a step above Applebee's. Applebee's is like the lowest tier of restaurant that you go to and the lights are off.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I don't. I don't eat that bullshit. Okay, so here's what we can do. We can wrap hour 2 right now, and we can. Oh, shit, we didn't do the picks. Oh well, we can do the picks. Top of hour 3. We can forecast NFL, and then we can review college and preview college. Does that work for you?
That works for me. I literally have my picks ready too.
All right, guys. That's hour 2. Went a little long because we started talking about Taylor Swift and Applebee's.
Yeah, chain restaurants and all that good stuff that everybody likes.